Okay, we're in Dickinson, North Dakota. I started saying North Carolina. And we're about to check into the Comfort Inn to do the live webcast any second now. And the webcast is in 20 minutes, so we're in a little bit of a hurry. So I'm thinking about songs I know you'd like. For some fantasies tell them Desiree. And the beauty of the last 5 minutes of sunset in your eyes. I had some things I was reaching for, never realizing in my youth I was holding everything I would need. When I said cell phones and computers, because what I'm discovering, and I'm new at this, I'm a singer-songwriter. Mm-hmm. I'm new at all this. But what the common theme that I'm hearing, and it makes a lot of sense, is that the kids need cell phones to communicate.
They most definitely need phones. They need computers. They need housing. They need medical care. They need everything. I think the important part about a cell phone, honestly, is the fact that that is the way everybody communicates now. So if you are going to get a job, you are going to have that interview, you are going to make something of your life, you have to have some way to be able to make that contact.
Yeah.
And we certainly do not provide that. The other issue that we have...
Before you go too far, can you introduce yourselves?
Oh, I'm Deborah Tritton. I'm the foster care supervisor here at Stark County Social Services.
Okay.
I'm Maureen Hammond. I'm the director at Stark County Social Services.
Great. I really appreciate you spending time with us today and agreeing to meet with us.
Oh, we're excited. Let me tell you, this is very exciting to me because when I took this job, I really didn't know if I would like foster care. And sometimes I don't like it because it's very sad. It can be extremely sad. But it's in my heart that you just know there has to be something better for these kids.
Yeah.
You know, that this isn't how their life should be. So...
And it can be very uplifting because we have very good results too sometimes of families making the changes that they need to do, the kids being able to, even if they can't live with them, having contact with their roots the way it is, and I think that's important too.
Can you tell me one of those stories, with excluding names, but can you tell me a success story that you guys have had?
I think we have one young lady that comes to mind immediately for me, and she aged out of foster care. She signed herself back into foster care, and she can stay in foster care, and we will pay for that placement for her. So she does have a home to go to at Thanksgiving, Christmas, during the summer if she's not attending summer school, those types of things. But and she came into care due to some severe sexual abuse and some neglect and a mother that said no, that never happened to her. Her dad never did that. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. The end result for us was not that this young lady could go back home, but that we could help her to build enough of a relationship with her mother so that she can maintain relationships with her siblings. Because she was the one that told her mother had cut her off from the siblings, from everybody. Family, extended family, grandma and grandpa weren't. She could have no contact with nobody. And we were able to work it out with this mom, where this young lady, who is now going to be a registered nurse. Oh, wow. She's extremely intelligent. She is a wonderful young lady. But she can go to the mom's house and visit her younger siblings now. She doesn't stay there, and she isn't there long. but we were able to work it out where they could at least have some sort of relationship. Right. And a lot of that came from, we have extremely wonderful foster care workers in our office. They go the extra mile for our kids all the time. This young lady worked very closely with her worker, who in turn, both of them worked very closely with the therapist, a psychiatrist also, because the young lady ended up needing some medication. Worked very closely with the foster parents. And through all of that, this young lady was able to realize what hindered her mom from being able to say, yes, this happened to you. And to understand how from here, this is what happened here, but I need to be able to do this to have this relationship.
Yeah. What kind of things do you see make a difference for the kids? Like that turning point, you know, now she's going to be a registered nurse. She's having some semblance of a relationship with her mother, to have a relationship with her siblings, which is important.
Very important.
What kind of things make a difference for the kids?
I think a lot of the difference is made by the foster parents.
Yep.
You know, they do become very important to these children's lives. They give them the encouragement and stuff to get beyond.
Yep.
What they have, and an understanding of where they've come yet, but yet give them a future to go towards. Yep. So I think a big difference is that day-to-day contact with a foster family, and all the support that they're able to get that helps them realize that there's life ahead.
Right.
And we're very fortunate to have very good foster parents. A lot of our foster parents have taken the steps to go to extra training that's specific to the child that's coming into their home. And so with that knowledge, they can then help that child work through that. And then also, it's important for these foster kids to see what family should be or could be.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things he said in the book, that, you know, when you're in a situation that's abusive, you don't necessarily even know.
You don't know
that it's abusive. And Sam, you know, when he got out of his family situation and started staying on other people's couches and like with other families, and there wasn't
seeing what was going on, the
constant fighting. There wasn't, you know, there weren't drugs, there weren't, you know, crazy stuff going on in the household. You know, he was like, I can't believe this is normal. You know, this is the way it should be. And he really, you know, a light bulb went off in his head.
There's a big difference between when you see kids in foster care who have come from abusive homes where they're saying, you know, I didn't agree with my dad, so he punched me in the face. Versus, I didn't agree with my dad, so we sat down and we had a conversation about what the differences are in how we're viewing this situation, or, you know, those types of things, because these kids need to learn. They need to be given the opportunity to learn what life can be, that not everything is an altercation, that not everybody's bad, that not everybody's going to take advantage of you, and not everybody's going to hurt you. And it's really important. I do think, and I agree very much with Maureen, that our foster parents, and I brag about our foster parents all over the state. Sometimes I get other supervisors that say, okay, we've heard it, you know, stop, you know. But the foster parents are so important, and we are very fortunate to have the foster parents we have. And they work very closely with us. We've had foster parents that have gone into therapy with some of our kids because of the issues that are there, to be able to then go home and continue to work on those issues. So they do go the extra mile. They do take the extra steps. And it is those kids, those success stories, that keep us doing this job. Because without those, boy, it wouldn't be a real good, you know, pleasant job. But we do have enough of those that, man, there are days that it's just exciting to be here because you know so-and-so's coming by and they've just bought their first car and, you know, things are going well and those types of things.
I think another turning point or another very important part for kids is helping them learn to believe in themselves. You know, to help them see their value and what they can contribute, because they have in abusive situations that's not always the message they get. And I think that's a lot of times a turning point for kids when they start believing in themselves versus what life was versus other people taking care of. They start believing, I can do this.
Right.
And I think that's a real turning point for kids when we're able to get them to that point that they say, yes, I can do this. Right.
Acquiring some of that inner strength and belief in yourself.
Well, what I'm seeing with these kids I'm actually interviewing kids as well that have aged out, like 18-year-olds, and I think they're very strong.
Yes.
And I would put my money on these kids more than I would a kid that grew up in a wealthy family that had everything given to them.
I'm with you.
I agree.
These kids are like,
I agree.
they're really strong. Do you see that?
They are. Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Because they learned at a young age that in order to survive, you need to be tough. You need to be strong. You know, they've learned that. They had no choice. They had to learn how to
problem solve.
Yep, problem solve. Just from the basics on up through life. They those struggles, I believe, are what has made them strong.
Right.
I think, though, sometimes we need to look at the other side, too, regarding foster kids and what we don't provide for them. Because, you know, when they've got needs when they get out of foster care, but in North Dakota, and I don't know if it's all over, if it's hard to get them to have driver's license, transportation. There's a lot of needs and stuff that kids who aren't in foster care have, that just because of policies, the way things are, liability, all this, it's hard to, we keep telling the foster kids we want you to be as normal as ever, but then there's certain things that other normal kids
get to do,
so-called normal kids do, that aren't allowed.
What are those things specifically? What issues when a child ages out of foster care? What would those issues be? Driver's license.
I think that's one of our biggest issues,
and that's what we hear from all our kids.
Yeah, you've got to get a driver's license. You have to have a parent's permission, right?
Exactly.
And so, if your parent is abusing you or beating you,
or if in some way the rights have been terminated,
and you don't have a
foster
parent,
care and you don't have a parent.
That's,
those are, yes, it is.
It's crazy.
That's the areas that I would really like to see some advocacy and stuff done for children who are transitioning. I think we're doing a much better job, and more programs are in place trying to help these children.
That seems to me, like Foster Care 101, state.
It does to us too.
So what's the problem? What is the problem?
Nobody wants to take responsibility for that youth.
Or the insurance. There's insurance on cars.
There's who's going to purchase this car. You have a kid that's 17. Okay, so they've taken driver's ed. They've passed the permit test. Whose vehicle are they driving? Who's paying the insurance? Who is going to take responsibility for that?